Children in slum, rural and hardship areas are more likely not to have access to well-stocked libraries, if any at all. But there is an organization that's seeking to change that by building with books. We're living out loud with Lucy and Andrea Njoroge from Books Forward next. Hello and welcome to Sheila Lives Out Loud, and I hope you have subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, there's still time for you to do that, and remember to click on notifications so you never miss a show. But we are at Westwood Hotel Living Out Loud with Books Forward, Lucy Njoroge and Andrea Njoroge. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you. Thank you for making the time to be here. And even as we get started, of course, the big question becomes books. Books. Why books? What's Books Forward?
Books Forward is a family initiative. It's to create a society where children are able to build themselves up with books.
That's the 140 character situation for Twitterverse. But you know, she's part of the new school that says things in 140 characters or less. But some of us are more wordy. We love the words. A little too much sometimes. But Lucy, tell us a little bit more about Books Forward and when it, all began.
Okay, Books Forward is actually, like you said, a family initiative. We started in 2014, and what had happened is we had gone to Kitui to visit my mom, and we had met a relative who was actually just about to do her Standard 8. And she had no ambition, no plan, because she didn't know that she could be more than just come to Nairobi and become a house help. And that left me with a very bad feeling. So when we came back, we were all very quiet for a while. And then we figured we can make a difference. So we actually put all our books in the garage, picked up all our baby books, all our reading books, and put them in the garage. And I think we came up to about 1,600 books. Packed them, boxed them, and went back to Kitui. And by the time we got there, I had had a conversation with the headmaster, and he was ready. He had got the school together, the parents together. They had repurposed a room. All the parents had contributed like 100 shillings, and they had put shelves and windows and floor and 2 or 3 books in the shelves. So when we got there, we had a library started, and that's how Books Forward started.
Andrea, I believe you're still in school. When you think about books and homework and class and homework, the reading culture has been said in Kenya, is simply about reading to pass an exam. And you're right smack in that demographic that's always about getting ready for a big exam at the end of this year so you can move on to the next level, and then the next level, and then the next level. Why was it so important to you to get this Books Forward initiative going? Because it's one thing for mama to say, this is where we're marching, and until you're paying rent, really, you march in the same direction. But why was it so important for you?
Because I felt we as middle class and above had more of an advantage to move on with their lives than they did. It was disappointing to see smart children my age who couldn't do what I could do. It was not a nice feeling. I felt like I had an unfair advantage, and it just wasn't nice.
Okay, speaking about advantages, from a teen perspective, what do books mean to teens today? For me, books and going into a library was discovering things like Hardy Boys and Nancy Drews and things like that. What's it like for you today when you open books? What are you opening as teens?
Okay, well, I'm part of the very minority percentage of teens who really love to read. I mean, the others just love watching movies, series. I get lost in the feeling of books. It's enlightening.
Okay. In getting books together, as a family, you've been able to collect everything you had in the house. Getting other people to support the initiative. There's certain projects that you've put forward and you have created to help the campaign move forward, to help gather more books, because books are expensive. If you wanted to buy a brand new book today, it does cost a pretty penny, no matter what kind of book you're going to pick up. But let's talk a little bit about the initiatives that you have put forward to help gather these books to distribute.
So when we started in 2014, around in February, but when a couple of months down the line, we realized it wasn't just about giving books. We actually wanted the books to be used. So we had a writing competition, and that was involved all the schools we were supporting. And each child ended up with a certificate and trophies. And the school that had the most entrants actually got a trophy as well. And that was really exciting because the children came up with interesting stories that you could see they were actually putting thought to it. Then 2015, we spent a lot of time just collecting books and figuring out, do you have 5 books, Sheila? Do you have 10 books here? And so a lot of book drives and having them delivered, because it's also pretty expensive for us to keep going. So we usually just pack them and send them off. But this year, we thought we would do something a little different, partly because the children have gotten very involved in community service projects, and it was important for their school curriculum. So Alex, my second born, the one she follows, he came up with a basketball tournament dubbed Hoops for Books. And he put together a team of 8 teams, and there was a lot of goodwill that came through schools, that school that gave us the courts to play in. We had Nairobi Bottlers coming in, we had Weetabix coming in, and that was exciting. It did more in creating awareness than it did in actually collecting books. We did collect books because actually the day ended up pretty rainy. Yes, it was a very, very wet day. But with all the people who came, books were collected, awareness created, community service was done. And now we have a lot of people coming back and saying, what's the next event? So that was a new thing for us because we're more used to just collecting books, which is on average like 500 books a month.
Wow.
Yes.
That's incredible. And this is from church, friends,
Actually,
family,
not church.
or fellow students. Where have you been getting the books from?
From just individual friends, from schools. We've done West Nairobi and Braeside have given us books, but it's really, really been individuals, very few institutions. And that's a surprising thing. The Kenyans themselves are very lax to give books. It's very hard to get, 5 books from Sheila. And yet they'll be sitting in Sheila's shelf and she won't do anything with them.
Yeah.
So that's been a little
this
sad.
thing about we keep books, and I know people who've bought amazing books. And when you look at their library and you ask, you've read this? And they say, no, actually, no.
Yes.
So why is it still sitting here? Well, I'll find the time to read it. When?
I know.
Sometimes I don't know when to stop asking the questions. But really, going back to the reading culture and just hoarding things, because there's a little aspect of that within all of us. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask the next question to you, Andrea, because you represent Team Kenya, Team Young Kenya to be precise. And if you look forward, in coming up with books forward and thinking, I want to engage and help others access the books that I can access, what would you like to see happen? An ideal world, if you could ask for something today and it can be done, what would that be? With the initiative, definitely not crossing the seas for a concert. Let's just be very precise here.
It would be nice to see that children, every school has a library and also a computer lab. That would be good because we've learned that children are doing computer in theory. It's hard to actually imagine it, so it's disappointing. So I'd like to see a computer lab, even if it's not with internet, just a computer lab and a library.
Some of the punishments we'd get as little kids would be you're reading the wrong book at the wrong time.
Yes.
But the fact that you're reading, your punishment wasn't as bad as you were not reading at all. And so it helps. I don't know, like Andrea said, there's just something so good. There are many, many good things that happen to people who open books and read books.
And we love the smell of books.
Yes, there's just something about turning the pages.
Yes.
We will remain old school forever.
Yes.
But in talking about computers and the digital, innovation, and that's where the future is going, the place of a book in the digital society, that's a little tricky.
Not yet in Kenya. I know there is a promise for computers in schools, but it'll be a long time before we can get to a point where it's really completely digital. The research we've done, we found that even if we do get laptops for the schools or the tablets, when they're online, they have a shelf life of 1 year. So after 1 year, you're going to get new tablets. And then when they're offline, they have a shelf life of 4 years. And there's nobody really maintaining those computers. So before we get the system right, I think it'll be another 10, 15 years.
Looking at what's happening in schools today, and this is what I'm going to ask of you, Andrea. In going to a hardship area, it's already hard enough sitting in a class with 67 pupils, and there's very little material to share amongst all these kids. But who's there to read with them? Because the teacher is busy marking 67 papers. At what point is the teacher going to say, let me sit and read with 67 pupils? When you think about it that way, it's insane, is it not?
It is.
So how do we sort that? Do you have anything in mind?
I would suggest raising money to build more classrooms and hiring more teachers so that the students are evenly spread out and there's more time for the teachers to spend with them as well as marking the papers.
But I'm thinking about the community at large, because there's some of us who are living around these schools, around these areas, other than just having books, the people with time. What can we do?
Okay. This in end of June, Andrea did a trial run of something we were thinking of getting to do. And she was just here at the Deep Sea slum with a group of the reading club. It's called Yvonne and Sonia Reading Corner. And they had a group of about 40, 30 children, and they divided them into two. So one group was being read to by the managing director of Story Moja. And then Andrea sat with the other group and read to them. And we realized this is something we can incorporate in our community service, where if we can get young people involved in their communities, wherever they are, to go and substitute as with the teacher and read while the teacher is dealing with the other students, they're able to sit and read. So for me, that would make a great impact if you can actually give back with your time.
Of your time?
Yes.
Because it's nice to donate the books, but if you find you don't have books, so you've already given out all the books that you have, there's still something that you can put on the table that makes a difference. But talking about your experience at Deep Sea, what was that like, Andrea?
It was scary. All these little kids looking at you, just watching you read. You're looking at them like, hello,
Hi.
how are you doing?
Otherwise,
It was nice because they paid attention, they'd respond, they'd make silly comments, then they'd laugh at you, laugh with you and at you.
Yes.
And they'd play with you afterwards. It was nice.
There was definitely interest in what you were doing, and they wanted to connect more. Because I think there's a man, his name is Dr. Wale Akinyemi,
Yes,
and
yes.
he says something, and it always sits in my mind. You're not going to go anywhere that your mind hasn't gone. So yes, you may be in the slum, but Andrea came in with a set of books, and they read all kinds of things. What did you read?
It was a shop, it was a story about a barber shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, these two kids just didn't know what hairstyle to pick, so it was just a whole mission.
Of getting the right hairstyle.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on hairstyles. But you're not going to go somewhere that you don't know exists.
Yes.
And maybe in listening to these stories, there's one of them who'll decide one day I'm going to have a barber shop, or one day I'm going to be a hairdresser, and you're just opening the world of possibilities. But for anyone who's tuned in and would like to be a part of the initiative, how do we contribute, be a part, support, etc., etc.?
Well, definitely you can donate books. We have a website. We're on social media, so you can just connect with us through any of those. But more importantly, wherever you are, if you don't have an outlet or a place to take them, bring them to us. But wherever you are, we're not the only ones doing it. Make that difference. I'm a firm believer. We have this little plaque in our kitchen that says, "What have you done to impress yourself today?" So if the only thing you've done is given 5 books like we did that day to those children, then we've made a difference and we've touched a life. Whenever we stop and think about 6,000 books to 9 schools, one of the schools, the high school, has 800 students. I think just by putting those books in those hands, and most of them were textbooks for those children, we've changed a life. Yeah? So that's all. Just do what you have to do. And if you want to partner with us, come. Join our community service initiative, donate books, and if you have a place you want us to take books, tell us about it.
It's open. You're not selecting based on where you want to go. It's
Other than,
open to-
yes,
Yeah.
we just don't prescribe to do any political stories.
Yeah.
We just want to go and make sure children have books in their hands.
Right, and of course, these are age-appropriate books.
Exactly, primary school, basically.
So keep those 50 Shades of Grey copies
To
exactly
yourself.
where you know they are.
Exactly. And yes, it's interesting because I think when we started, I thought we would have a lot of Enid Blytons and really nice, sober 3 Little Pigs.
Yes.
Man, some dark books have passed our way.
I am sure. And maybe that's why some of these books that are hiding in shelves, those are
Stay there. I think we've received like almost 20 copies of Where Do Babies Come From?
All right.
I
then.
don't know who wrote that book.
It's a good question. Maybe one of these days we should talk about that.
Exactly. But yes, whatever you have and you think you can make a difference with,
Yeah.
let's do that. Let's bring them. Let's make a difference.
Thank you so
Yes.
very much, Andrea. You're going to send our love and regards to the rest of your family. And we support the work that you're doing. I can even see some books up in here. These are
Which-
just some of the books that you give out. Or are
Yeah.
these for me? Or are they for a friend of a friend?
No, they're
Yeah.
for the children.
Yeah.
We're hoping you would pass them on.
To a
Really?
choice, a school or a group of children of your choice.
Of my choice?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, these are nice. Oh, the places you will go. I love this. I tell you what I'm going to do. I went to a primary school called High Ridge Primary School, and it was fabulous. But lately, it's experienced its share of hardships, and so I'm going to take these to my primary school, and hopefully you'll come out and join me as I give them out, and we'll take some pictures and read.
Can we make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Can you hold on to them a little bit while we collect some more, and then
Yes,
we can
then
take
we
a
can
bit more?
take even more books. Why
Exactly.
not? I love it. I got me some books. Granted, some of them are my ABC. It's never too late to take on a refresher course. I know some people who could do with one. But thank you, ladies, for living out loud with me. I wish you all the very best with Books Forward. The door remains open, so come out and live out loud with us again.
Thank you.
Promise?
Yes.
Yes, we will.
Yes! You can connect with Books Forward. Lucy and Andre Njoroge are doing a fantastic job together with the rest of the Njoroge family. We will place those links in my social media site, so please log on and do something for someone who needs that book that you're done with. Age appropriate, of course. We are at Westwood Hotel. Signing off. Thank you again for watching. Subscribe to my channel, and remember, live out loud. Bye.